week's YouTube art school class, I'll share with you the 3 absolute best drawing exercises to learn to draw anything from imagination. Nothing else compares when it comes to getting good fast. And quickly, class is starting. We're gonna be late. All right, class is in session. Pay attention, and heck, don't forget to pay the class fee of either 1 like or 1 sub. Experts agree it's great value. Now, let's see what those 3 exercises are all about. There are obviously many things to learn when it comes to learning how to draw, so what exactly should you focus on? I know you probably don't like to waste your time practicing something that's not helping, so in order of difficulty from beginner to advanced, here are the 3 most valuable drawing exercises that you can do to improve as fast as possible, specifically to get good at drawing from reference, but importantly also from imagination. 3 God tier exercises. Here's the first one. Fantastic for beginners or more advanced artists looking for a solid warm-up. To start off, we'll just be focusing on drawing simple volumes, things like cubes, cylinders, spheres, and any variants of those. Here, we're practicing spatial awareness, a foundation skill for artists allowing us to better visualize objects in space and prepare us to draw, eventually, more complex structures like a human mannequin, maybe. Now, this kind of stuff here should become relatively easy fairly quickly, but there are some more challenging versions that you can try as you get better, like practicing to rotate these volumes in space. I recommend this stuff to my students all the time. The reason you should want to focus on this is because everything in life can be simplified down to those simple shapes. It's hard to memorize, visualize, and draw complex structures like this, for example, but it gets drastically easier when you realize that this seemingly complex object is really just made out of simple volumes. As you can see, you can even spice up this particular exercises by drawing simple structures of volumes to rotate. I'm sure a lot of you will be able, with some difficulty maybe, to do this from imagination, but if it helps, don't hesitate to use references in the form of like drink cans, maybe box-shaped items on your desk, or whatever else resembles these simple volumes. And once you feel confident about your basic volumes, it's a good time to introduce this next exercise that we'll call deforming basic volumes. We rotated them first. Now, by deforming them in different ways, we're pushing even further our understanding of shapes and dabbling into drawing from imagination, making relatively simple modifications at first, things like twists, bends, and also just stretching or squashing the volumes. Now, I'll start off with minor deformations like these, but as you build confidence, you can keep increasing the challenge by deforming different parts of the same volume differently. That's harder. Maybe you start off with a skinny cube, but by the end, you get to the other side. Now we're dealing with a chubby cube. There are so many possibilities when you start to practice this stuff, and so many of the things that you might be interested in drawing will look incredibly similar to these deformed basic volumes. Hey, that's the horn of one of my characters. By drawing deformed volumes like these, we can pretty accurately represent a lot of the world that we see around us. And as you start to draw from imagination more and more, these are the shapes that you should be thinking about drawing first. And what we've been practicing all along is the art fundamental of construction. By constructing more intricate structures using simple shapes first, it's a lot easier to draw anything, just like building a house, starting from its frame and then filling it up with drywall and finishes. We start with the simple construction first, and then we add the details. And this is just a quick preview of the fundamental of construction, though. There are many more art fundamentals to learn to be able to draw anything your mind can imagine. So if that's been your goal, you should definitely check out my art program. There's nothing that comes even close to the depth of the content that it covers, except maybe traditional university programs that will cost you thousands of dollars. Not epic. Check all the deets with the link in the video description, and make sure that you grab it before the end of the month to take advantage of the big sale going on to celebrate reaching 14,000 students. The sale will run for a couple more days until the end of the month. Now, I will likely extend the sale into next month, although with just a slightly smaller discount, since we should hit 15,000 students in just a few days. That was fast. Fast like your progress if you practice the exercises in this class, including this third exercise that we're just going to be calling carving basic volumes. So far, we've rotated them, deformed them, and now we're just gonna whip out our imaginary carving knife and start to chop away at this. Carving in combination with the first two exercises should really allow you to recreate most shapes that exist. In a simplified version at least, like a construction. That should certainly cover most of the things you might want to draw. In my art program, what I use this for initially is for rounding out corners, introducing a bevel along edges, because looking at shapes like the result we have here, I guarantee you that you'd have a harder time drawing it curved right off the bat. It's exponentially easier to carve out the corners instead. We can carve out holes out of volumes, carve out entire sections or smaller pieces. And not only will this allow you to come up with really complex shapes quite easily, but the way you observe things around you will start to change. You'll get better at observing and understanding what you see. That might actually be more valuable for your growth than practicing these exercises. Although, you gotta practice them to get to that point. And if you do practice these, it won't be long before you see the impact on your art. And wait a minute. All of these pieces remind me of something. Do you see it? What if we arrange them slightly differently? What? A human mannequin! Unbelievable. It was hiding in plain sight this whole time. Such simple exercises gave us all of the ingredients we needed to construct a human body. And of course, if that's too complicated for now, don't hesitate to try your hands at simpler structures made out of multiple volumes. Basically, you just learn how to make any of the individual Lego block pieces. Now it's up to you and your imagination to put different pieces together and create something new. So get to work and practice this stuff. And that's gonna be it for this week's class. I hope you found it helpful. As always, feel free to leave your feedback in the comments. I read them all. And share this with a friend who might need it, or with your crush, guaranteed to take you out of the friend zone. How could it not? Oh, and as a prize for being a good student and following until the end, I'm giving away the legendary line art brush that I used in today's video for free as part of my custom brush set. You can download it using the link in the video description if you haven't already. There's also a convenient version for Clip Studio Paint users. Now, come back next week for more free pro content like this. And meanwhile, check out these other classes that you might like. I'll see you there.